I love the 3DS, and I mean, I absolutely love it to the point of where it's my favorite system. And you know what? I'll say it. I love the Wii U too, even though it's like the weird, awkward cousin who you might not always want to see. But I do get that a lot of my love for these consoles is kind of like adult nostalgia. See, the 3DS came out when I was 20, and in a really weird transitionary period of my life, like, most 20-year-olds are. And I actually met most of the friends that I still see every week today because of the 3DS, hosting my college's Smash Brothers club out of our apartment, and being the Water Elite Four member of the Central Washington University Pokemon League. These two systems helped me develop relationships that were integral to me growing as a person. They even in a way directed me towards my career of writing video game music, so I definitely recognize that there's more than a bit of bias happening here. Bias aside though, the games absolutely slapped, although the Wii U is a disappointingly small library of which almost all the bangers were brought to Switch. I mean, look at this. It doesn't even take up a full shelf in my spouse's and my collection room. See, I've got one slot open and I don't know what to fill it with. But we've still got it plugged in, and even busted out Nintendo Land and Mario Tennis Ultra Smash recently. They weren't kidding. Ultra Smash blows hard. The 3DS though? Oh man, that library is like my adult childhood. Both Animal Crossing New Leaf and Kid Icarus Uprising are on my top 5 of all time list. I could rave about those games all day. But instead of talking about things that other people already have, let's take the time today around the launch window of the Switch 2 to talk about that time when Nintendo was a little bit different and a little bit weird. This era of Nintendo felt a bit more personal. It was kind of raw and unedited, and it was made for me. And probably you too, since you're watching this video. The marketing was, to say the least, odd. Reggie, Iwata, Sakurai, and Bill Trinan were all over the directs, the E3 digital events, remember those, and all sorts of other marketing, and they were talking directly to us. They were up to weird shenanigans and simply just having fun. I see people talk about this a lot, how much they miss it, and how they wish there was that bit of personality again. Now, don't get me wrong, if you're looking at things objectively, Nintendo's current marketing for the Switch and Switch 2 has probably never been as on point as it is now, at least in a conventional sense. Their marketing is calculated, deliberate, uniform, clean, and although I do like this direction, I find it very cold. See, it doesn't have that same creative charm and honestly, lack of polish that Nintendo had in 2011 to 2015. And it's sad because in many ways, Nintendo's marketing has always been raw and made for the fans. But times have changed. Now it doesn't feel like it's for you and me. It's for the moms, dads, and families who are either getting consoles and games for their kids, or who want to share their joy of gaming with their families. And that's okay. Today, rather than talk about music like I normally do, I want to take some time to go down the rainbow road of nostalgia and talk about that time that their marketing was a little dirty, but had that same sense of fun that their games do. So as much as I'd like to center this around the 3DS, unfortunately, we should frame this around the Wii U. I'll spare you the dive about how the Wii U was confusing because of it being named the Wii U, and this made people not realize that it was a second console. We all know the story. See, the Wii was, we would like to play, whereas the U was Nintendo telling us that you, yourself, is now part of the equation. Think about the demo game, Nintendo Land. These featured multiplayer games that centered around the gamepad, 1 versus 4, 1 cooperating with 4. There were even single-player only experiences, and there were a lot of single-player games that also worked just as well in multiplayer. Mario 3D World is a great example of this. It's a great game both ways. I don't know if this U side of things was intentional in their marketing or not, but maybe it played a bit into it. But as I'm watching through the Nintendo Direct focusing on Wii U and 3DS from 2015, the legendary one with the Star Fox puppets, I'm kinda hoping that it didn't. Reggie, Miyamoto, and Iwata are just having fun with this show. We have great highlights such as the executive heroes.
Nintendo 62, Nintendo 63, Nintendo 64. My puppet body is ready.
A bit of Miyamoto's childhood.
I live right by the Fushimi Inari Shrine. I've had a relation with this shrine since I was a child. Because of that, I felt that I was always protected, as if it's my guardian angel.
Dancing with the Star music.
I wonder what's next.
Puppet Iwata meditating directly to you and yeeting Reggie to the floor.
Hey.
And Iwata just staring at a banana? That's a callback to the 2012 direct of real-life Iwata staring at a banana. This is such a weird time, and I found myself bursting out laughing at a bunch of these little moments. We just don't get this anymore. Think about it. What other company has their executives so tied to the culture of their company? Reggie himself was memed to oblivion. He was challenged by Hungrybox to Smash, accepted the challenge, said if Hungrybox lost, he'd offer him a job.
Did you hear that if I win, I'm prepared to offer you a job? Oh!
I'm an engineer, boy. I don't need it.
And, well, he was one of the Smash players of all time, but that's besides the point. They were out there, being involved just like us. I just like the idea of this being raw and unfiltered, that they were doing this because they wanted to, not because some marketing exec said that they should. Anyway, let's chat Wii U and how they centered this console around us so we get some framework. Because this console kinda sucked. To be honest, it really sucked. It sold an abysmal 13.56 million consoles. That's not many. It had a bunch of weird features. Remember the video chat? Yeah, that was a thing. But it did have a full Wii system included in it, complete with UI and everything. That's pretty cool. But Nintendo also did something really cool that I wish they never got rid of. See, they had their own social media service, Miverse. Screw the games, Wii U was worth it just so I could give a big fat yeah to hoping that little Tommy's mom and dad would stop fighting. Drawings and shitposting abound. It was a race to see who could be timed out first to protect the kids. But every game had a community that was pretty dedicated. It took me back to my GameFAQs days on the boards. While I didn't participate in communities in this capacity like I did back then, it was such a cool and in many ways modern addition to a console with just a great vibe to it. I really was hoping that Nintendo would bring this back with the Switch too, and when it went away with the Switch, it was a devastating blow to the Nintendo community. Thankfully, the people over at Archiveverse cataloged everything, so if I want to go back and see the drawing my roommate did of sexy Deku Tree telling Link to get in his mouth, it's still got my back. I feel like Nintendo might be trying to capture some kind of this at a more personal level with their weird 15 FPS Discord knockoff, but it's just not the same. The integration of this service into games was awesome too. Splatoon and Smash is the most obvious, with people being able to share their drawings on both games. It was always a time when the Duck Hunt dog and duck would appear making out just labeled true love. But more so than this, Animal Crossing Plaza was such a unique way to interact with the Animal Crossing world because we all know that Animal Crossing was done dirty on Wii U. But the character polls, sharing posts about your favorites and posting photos of New Leaf, did it serve much of a purpose? Absolutely not. But again, it was just a little bit of how to share your personality with the world. On the 3DS, on the other hand, we had a bunch of other small personal experiences. Everyone remembers Street Pass, a really cool way to interact in passing with other people just by simply walking past them, or passing them on the freeway. I definitely had a few of those green lights of friendship pop up driving back to my parents' house in college. As much as I love Street Pass though, it kinda like stressed me out at times. I got really concerned about getting all the puzzle pieces. Thankfully, I did manage to finish them, so calm down, anxiety. Just kidding. In the middle of editing this script, we had some friends over for a Mario Kart night to send out the Switch, so we all busted out our 3DSs to get some Street Passes, and they added a couple other puzzles from when I finished them all. Kill me. However, Swap Note was definitely more of a highlight for me. Waking up in the morning and seeing what new mildly offensive drawings my friends had sent me during the night was always fun. It was so cool how you could have the 2 tiers of line work. That way you could really make your characters pop out of the screen in the most unexpected of ways. Being able to respond to your friends and create these little chat chains too. I still go back and look at these sometimes. It's such a neat little app. So the reason I'm bringing these up, even though everyone always talks about them, is this type of communication is at least what I think helped influence Nintendo's marketing and approach with us back during the day. They were saying that this is for you, and that's how the marketing felt. Take this clip of the announcement trailer of Kid Icarus Uprising.
Sorry to keep you waiting.
At the time, we didn't know that this was Pitt talking to Palutena, but this was first played at the 2010 E3 press event right at the start of the 10s. And Pitt was telling me he was sorry. Well, Pitt, I just want to take the time to publicly say, apology accepted. You made a great game, and the wait was worth it. Here's a real photo a friend took of me screaming at the TV during the announcement trailer. I was so stoked. They still call this the action shot of E3. Pitt was talking to me! Nintendo was talking to me! From here is where I consider the bigger shift in marketing to have occurred. Over the next 6 years, we got increasingly more and more fun skits that were made for us, that weren't made for public consumption, and in many ways this was because of the rise of the titan of announcement videos, Nintendo Directs. They bring the content directly to you. And man, the excitement of a Direct still will never die for me because they cracked the hype code. Starting back in October of 2011, these worked so well that they took over the E3 press events only a year and a half later. It's weird to me how so many people, hated that this took over the E3 events. I remember a friend who was specifically telling me that Nintendo was doomed because having a presence at E3 was mandatory to stay relevant in the gaming space. And look where E3 ended up and what the other companies started doing. They started copying Nintendo. As much as I love the E3 events still because of all the awkwardness, with the Directs, they control the show. None of these giant enemy crabs, Ridge Racer, or Connectimals things anymore. Now, Nintendo gets to decide how we get to know the info in a controlled environment, which just opened the doors to making it more fun. And to bring things partially back full circle, this controlled environment is what got us that Star Fox Direct. We would never have been able to get anything like this with a live press conference, and that's cool. But these Directs popped up for individual games too. This Tomodachi Life Direct was such a perfect way to sell what might be Nintendo's weirdest game. They have all the Nintendo execs just doing wacky shit with each other, with me, Bill Trinan, being the newscaster. Aonuma confesses to Zelda, then Miyamoto turns around and says, "Now hold up, bro. Reggie and Iwata are just having a heated fight, just throwing things at each other." And then Bill shows up in real life as the newscaster, with the set guy running around in the background for literally no reason. Bill just talks about the specifics of the game here, which I think works really well. He even starts telling us how much of a gooner he is for Samus before falling asleep and then being woken up by real life me, Reggie. But wait, it was actually the studio guy we saw earlier. They had me in the first half, I'm not gonna lie. What a fun way to show off a game that really should never have made it stateside. I'm so excited for the new one. And their promotional campaigns too are just very different. Remember the Euro Luigi? Of course you do. It's been 12 years and it's still going. They dropped this video finding Luigi Legend of Parkour out of nowhere, featuring a bunch of gaming celebrities, probably to promote new Super Luigi U, but it just felt really out of place, but weirdly awesome? This is a mockumentary style video on Luigi, or the aptly named L-Man, who is a legend of parkour and no one knows what happened to him. All these people hype him up, talking about his Smash Brothers moves, the green missile and the cyclone, which that's not the cyclone, by the way. This is in fact way more difficult to do than the cyclone. I can do the cyclone, here's the proof. But when it comes time to actually interview L-Man, they can't find him. Our heroes, though, they don't find Luigi, instead opting for hot dogs on a stick, realizing that they should have booked him before starting the documentary, as Luigi leaps off a ledge onto a beach behind them. This was just a fun, interesting video and kinda unlike anything Nintendo has ever done to this day. And what about the Reggie Fils-A-Mech video that they did with Mega 64 to announce their E3 2014 plans, where they built a mech of Reggie to try to infiltrate Nintendo of America to get early E3 info? There's so many fun moments in here, with Reggie's meeting with Barack Obama being canceled in favor of hosting a Smash Brothers tournament. Then they want the tournament to be convenient for them, so they're like, yo, host it at Best Buy. And the lady was like, hey now, that might be hard. So Reggie just straight up kills her? Now that's some Nintendo lore. My favorite bit though, absolutely, is where the real Reggie shows up to his office and Mech Reggie is all, oh shit. And they make a huge deal about this. Mecha Reggie tried to make an excuse, but Reggie literally just drops, forget about it. I'm just going home. Like, he's seen too much shit for the day. I absolutely burst up laughing at this. Did he get in trouble for vaporizing a coworker? He would have shown up to the meeting, right? Was he alerted? Maybe Reggie was so scared of the mech? The world will never know. But more than anything, what's neat is this is one of the few instances where you get to see inside a good portion of the Nintendo of America building. They don't do this too often, so it's a neat little treat for fans. Then they rolled this over into the 2014 E3 event. This is the other legendary one where they partner with Robot Chicken for just absolute insanity. They immediately hit us with the jokes as the announcer doesn't know how to pronounce Fils-A-Me, and Reggie tells him how to say it, and the announcer man just hits us with, if you say so, just like, sure man, I guess. He immediately addresses people saying, you weren't gonna have a press conference, not my problem. A heckler immediately gives us, oh, another Mario game, give us Mother 3. To which Reggie takes a fire flower and just also straight up kills the guy. So now we have 2 Reggie-related deaths at this point in the same year. But directly after this, the violence doesn't stop as Reggie and Iwata engage in hand-to-hand combat to show off the Mii fighters in Smash. I guess Nintendo is just really wanting to show that Reggie is just like really aggressive this year or something. Okay, it's really cheesy, honestly, with this, but still, it's like something that to this day just gets me hyped. I can't imagine Doug Bowser and Shuntaro Furukawa tussling, you know? But really, the way they were advertising Smash back then, it got me and my college Smash Club so excited. We were ready for all of this. Then they announced Amiibo? Dude, it was over. My spouse and I, we don't have all of them, but we've got too many. My college roommates and I went so hard into these back in the day. We did everything we possibly could to get these guys. We played in Smash tournaments to win them. We traveled about 45 minutes to go to stores in the neighboring town to find Dr. Mario. We waited outside of our Fred Meyer at like 5 a.m. for them to open to get Lucina. We didn't get it. My roommate bought me a Donkey Kong for taking him grocery shopping because he didn't have a car. We put out an Amiibo fun jar at our Smash nights. We actually got money and used it to buy Lucario secondhand because we couldn't find him. My other roommate asked for my Greninja at one point, so I gave it to her and she painted it to be shiny. She then started an Amiibo painting business among our friend group. She told me not to tell anyone that she did mine for free. It's been 11 years now, so it's fine. And when I moved out, we literally sat down, the 3 of us together, and we negotiated on which Amiibo we were taking with us. I only left with like a little over a third of them, but it just started the fun of finding them all over again. And speaking of Smash, remember Settle It and Smash? Check out this commercial.
Excuse me, you're in my seat.
I don't think so.
Settle it in Smash! Mii Fighter! Donkey Kong!
Settle the score by creating your own Mii Fighter and taking on Nintendo's greatest characters in Super Smash Brothers! Settle it in Smash with Super Smash Brothers! Now for the first time on Nintendo 3DS. Rated everyone, 10 and up.
Hey!
The dude just screeches and turns into Donkey Kong. I tell you, this was a thing. My roommate and I had a Settle It battle on whether Sprite or 7-Up was better. I lost, but goddammit, I'll die on the hill that 7-Up is the superior drink. All right, back on topic. This was such a great direct. Splatoon made its debut here too. Now brother, you want to talk about a Nintendo game built for you? This was Splatoon's time to shine. All the gear and the albeit limited customization options just added to the vibe. And there was integration with Miverse in this game too. It was just more showing off how Nintendo's marketing was for you, not the parents. And that woman that Mecha Reggie killed, You probably don't know this because this video doesn't even have 150,000 views, so maybe this is like hidden Nintendo lore, but she actually lived. She came back to life in this video right here. She's definitely terrified of him, but asks Reggie what he wants to do for E3 next year, and then she just runs away in fear. And you know, you probably haven't seen this one either, but it's Miyamoto, Iwata, and Reggie debriefing over in E3, and Iwata was praising them on a good job. But then Iwata pulls out non-specific action figure and says that he did the best job. Like, what? The audio in this is actually garbage. Listen to this.
You, non-specific action figure, did the best job.
It was just recorded off someone's phone or something. Why don't we get anything like this now? Sorry, that was a tangent, but honestly, just watching through these again while I'm writing this script, it just brought back so many memories. Another video that was just a fun time was this Reggie workout video for E3 2015. The team goes over the plans from the previous year, and Reggie doesn't kill someone over Best Buy this time, but Reggie here thinks about the Nintendo World Championships again, and he says he's gonna compete, quit his job, he hires a new president, the 10-year-old Tanner, and goes to train in the Nintendo of America gym, which, to be honest, he shouldn't have access to because he just quit. But Bro is lifting GameCubes, Super Scopes, and living the Nintendo training regimen. Wii boxing, we even get some Virtual Boy love, going hard into it, saying how good the Virtual Boy is.
These games are great.
And the Virtual Boy is actually one of my favorite consoles. No, I'm not joking. I got this guy back when I was like 6 at KB Toys for like 30 bucks. The sticker is still on it. $29.98, what a deal! But after all of his training, he realizes that Nintendo is great and wants to keep his job. He asks Tanner for his job back, and Tanner's like, bro, what the f am I supposed to do? Reggie's like, my friend, what are your skills? And Tanner deadass just says,
日本語喋れますよ.
and then it just ends with,
Oh, great. Bill, you're fired.
and speaking of Bill, let's chat about my favorite video Nintendo might ever have put out, because it's Bill. Bill Trinan and the Donuts to advertise Yokai Watch of all things. Could it even be anything else? He gets possessed by the Hungrams, and he's just off, dude. He devours all of these donuts like nothing else. Reggie just comes in screaming, Bill? Bill? Bill! Bill! There were a couple of sequel videos to this too, the second of which is definitely my favorite of the two. Reggie and Bill get possessed again in a meeting asking what they think about an expansion proposal, and then both of them say, that was actually shit.
That was actually the worst idea I've ever heard.
Bob, your presentation is garbage.
Bill, did you cry when you got that haircut?
At least I don't smell like cheese, Reggie.
No, you smell like cheese.
And Reggie and Bill then just start insulting each other. I actually screamed out laughing at this. I just wasn't expecting it. And the third one, this Venn diagram that Bill has up.
Our biggest opportunity is right here.
Peak cinema. My friends and I, 9 years later, still yell, Bill! It's had so much staying power in my life. Okay, but seriously, I just want to take this moment to say how much I really appreciate Bill's involvement with the marketing and how much I just miss seeing him around. He was there quite a bit as a translator for the live E3 events, but he just disappeared after the Wii U era, and I have no idea why, but I kind of suspect it was because he might have been becoming too much of a public face in the community. Here's a story that's a bit personal to me and helps bring this back around as to why this era of marketing means so much to me as a Nintendo fan. See, I actually met Bill in the wild one day. I'm up here in the Seattle area, and at PAX Prime 2015, now renamed PAX West, rest in peace, there was a full Smash Brothers tournament held, like a full one, not one of the PAX ones. My friends and I, we all played in it. We were separated into pools, and all of a sudden I noticed that Bill Trinan was in my pool? What? He was just there next to me watching matches. A friend of mine introduced me to him as he had met him before because, see, Bill was at the time attending tournaments in the area, and he was doing well. Bill was a Yoshi player, and he progressed pretty far in pools at this tournament. And I'll never forget my interaction with him. One, because I was wearing a t-shirt that my roommate had made and sold online of Reggie that said, "My body is Reggie." He said Reggie would have liked it. But because when I talked to him, the first thing he told me was that he wanted to know who I mained. I said Villager, and he goes, "Oh man, the Slingshots, you're one of those guys." He wanted to know why I was out there, and he wanted to know my story and history with Nintendo. And more than anything, throughout the marketing, this was the you about yourself of Nintendo during this time to me. I spent no time talking to him about his time at Nintendo. He just wanted to know about me and why I liked Nintendo. And he never directly asked, but he got out of me what Nintendo truly means to me. This was just such an important interaction that still sticks with me all these years later. And to wrap it up, this whole era of Nintendo was just so weird and out of place, but also not really. It was such a vibe watching all of the new presentations with a room full of people, or sharing the next Nintendo game together. Listening to a friend tell me unironically that Amiibo Festival is such a good game. Okay, maybe not that one. As we're all about the Switch 2 hype right now, or maybe not about the Switch 2 hype, I'm curious to see how Nintendo's marketing will evolve over the next 7 to 10 years, and I still hope that there's a future where we might get to see Doug Bowser showing up in these skits, throwing down, or maybe even a return from Bill. What if Reggie showed back up for some reason? But truthfully, I think this era of Nintendo marketing is unfortunately over. And while that might be okay, I'll sure miss it. Thanks so much for hanging out with me for a bit today. I know it's not what I normally do, so I really do appreciate it. If you could do all the viewer things like, comment, subscribe, all that, I'd really appreciate it. I'm still exploring how much time I have to do videos right now, as I have some really exciting music projects in the works that hopefully I can talk about soon. So letting me know that you're out there, it really does help. Until next time, catch you later.